Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors, who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, this is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Always like to start by talking to you about what it means to be a warrior, and I like to give the definition. So if you've heard us do this before, then you can just blank out for right now. But if you have not, the definition of a warrior is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. A lot of ors in there. So if you find yourself not being brave, don't worry about it. All you need is experience. And if you're not a soldier in the military, don't worry about that. As long as you've fought through something in your life, you get to combine those two and consider yourself a warrior. Why is that important? Well, when you're a warrior, it just means that you're able to take things on in life that may otherwise knock somebody down. And the acknowledgement of that actually brings power. And I lead a men's group that meets once a month now. We're called the Men of Integrity, the Warriors for Christ. And we get together for an hour and we do something that I consider manly. And then we do a Bible study after that. So we either lift weights or we do some combatics training. We haven't hit this point yet, but coming up we'll be firing guns. Like, I'm just looking to create some tough Christian men that are capable of being the heads of their household. They're confident, and we get into the Bible as well, mind, body, and spiritual training here. But the reason I'm mentioning all of that is something that we spoke about this last time is how powerful the tongue is. And the Bible actually goes into that and talks about like what the tongue does and doesn't do for you. And the problem is that a lot of people will talk themselves out of being capable of being a warrior. They'll basically talk themselves out of being capable of accomplishing much in their life, period. And when you start talking about these types of things and you start saying, okay, well, I'm too tired to get this done, or I'm not a warrior, I can't fight through that. It's just too much for me. It starts to turn into things like Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So just think about that. You can use that to do well. You can use that to empower yourself, or you can use that to tear yourself down. And when you do that, you hear the quote, I don't know who said this originally, but it says, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. Well, that's very biblically rooted if you think about what I just read to you, even if it was intended to be or not. So I guess what I want to get at here is whatever you're going through, just recognize you've been through something tough in your life before, and it was probably the hardest thing you've ever faced down, the biggest mountain, the biggest Goliath, the biggest trial. And so what you're dealing with now, it could be bigger, it might, or it might just seem bigger because you've forgotten how big what you've defeated in the past was. And if you just take a second to ground yourself and you just speak into fruition that you have the power to overcome the situation, I think you'll be surprised to find how good you're at getting through things. I mean, Rocky says it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how many times you can get hit and keep moving forward. So sometimes it's just forward progress. You just have to continue to take one step at a time, even though it's hard. And you'll hit rock bottom sometimes. But you know what the greatest part about rock bottom is? There's really nowhere else to go down. You just start going up. And one of my favorite quotes is, where your breaking point is where God's building point begins. So sometimes you just need to change your perspective on where your strength comes from and how to move forward.
This past weekend, I had two circumstances in the same exact weekend that was, I don't know how to explain it. It was just they were like so identical and yet so different, but they were really challenging for me. It was a circumstance with Sophie where I basically had to say like, hey, you got to kind of look at this a different way, and let's start thinking about how we can be more disciplined in this area. Let's start thinking about how are you going to get ahead? How are you going to set yourself apart? God's going to use you if you start setting yourself up differently. And I found myself thinking, like, I haven't had this kid for 3 weeks. Like, she's been gone for 3 weeks. Okay, we didn't get to have her. She went away for a week, and then we didn't have her 3 weekends in a row. And I'm like, it feels so unfair that the first moment that I spend with her, I'm already having to equip her and having to educate her and having to, just really like plug her in again. It was like that's exactly what I would say. Is it felt like I was plugging her in again and saying, okay, no, we got your power back on. You're back on the same page now. Okay. And I really kind of beat myself up for it when I did it. But I knew in my heart and my spirit and my gut, whatever you want to call it, I knew it was what I needed to do. I mean, I knew the Holy Spirit was telling me, you gotta check her on this. You gotta do it. And I just felt like a jerk doing it, and that was my flesh that was talking there. And I don't know, maybe it was an hour later. I mean, I could tell I just sort of like declined because of it internally, because I started speaking to myself about how I felt after doing it. I started telling myself a story about what that meant, right? Like she's probably thinking this about me. She's probably thinking that about me. She's probably this or she's probably that. So I'm telling myself all these lies, and I just get to this place where I walk out and she walks up to me and she just says, I wish I could spend more time around you. And I was like, why do you say that? I mean, literally, I'm thinking I'm the biggest jerk in the world because I told her the things I told her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And she says, I wish I could spend more time around you.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what makes you say that? And she was like, because you took the time to tell me all that stuff, and I needed to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make me better.
Yeah.
And it was like, I immediately, my eyes welled up, and she never sees me cry.
Yes.
Never sees me cry. And she was like, did I make you cry? And I'm like, well, like in a good way, because I just feel so much better that I did it. And then I had a situation with you where you were struggling with something hardcore. I mean, you were really down on something. And I went hard on you. I was like, what are you thinking, man? This is what God's equipped you for. Get up, do it. You got this. You can do this. This is what you were built for. And then I left the room and I'm like, why is that what I have to do when I spend time with my husband? This is what I have to do when I spend time with my daughter. Like, I'm exhausted. I'm building people all day long. I come home. I don't mind doing it, but I could tell that it wasn't what you wanted to hear at that moment, right? And it wasn't what she wanted to hear at that moment either, right? And then it wasn't until I went to bed just like, I suck. Why didn't I just let him do his thing, say his thing, be negative? Let him just be negative for a moment. And the next day you said, thank you for bolstering me. It's what got me here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really easy. There's a hard way and there's an easy way.
So the warrior was speaking up and basically being like, I know, God, that you have bigger for these people. Holy Spirit, I hear you. You're telling me to say this. My flesh wants to just stay quiet and watch them play video games. My flesh wants to stay quiet, turn the music up loud in the car and just have fun with my daughter. But instead, I'm going to say what you need me to say.
Yeah, I mean, I say the exact same things to you. When you start to get weak or you start to get low on something, like I'll call you out. And what's interesting about that is you have people that'll call you out on stuff because of their own insecurities. And what they're usually calling you out on is like your success, right? Take more time off. Like, do you really need to work that hard? Do you really have to eat that clean?
Right.
And then you have people that call you out on things that are of weakness. And that's your people. Yeah. If someone's willing to actually, like, nobody wants to argue with someone they care about. Like, if I actually care about you, I'm not in that first group that I just talked about. Like, I actually care about you. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to spend the hour I get with my daughter telling her how upset I am that she did something wrong at school.
Well, and I don't even think it's arguing. It's just you don't want to be the one to tell them what they don't want to hear.
Okay, but it could become arguing because they become combative out of insecurity, and that's my point. Yeah. So but you tell someone what they don't want to hear because it's what they need to hear. And that is going to make them a better person. Even like our daughter coming to you and saying that. Our daughter has told me in the past that she loves the parameters that I've set for her because it shows her what she needs to do to be better. And she knows that she'll be better because of that. Like, I have a decision to make every time I discipline that kid, which, is literally never. She's so good. But anytime I've had to have a conversation to redirect or re-steer her, I might have 30 minutes I get to spend with her that day because I work a long day and that's our overlap time. Of course, I'd like to sit there and just let her lean on me. But if I do that, I'm doing that for me. I'm not doing that for her.
Right.
And her growth and who she becomes, it teeters on whether or not I do something for me on that time.
Right. For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems, for personal training, fitness assessment, or for our 6-month nutrition program, give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at Sophie's Bakery. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. They also have chicken, eggs, and turkey, too.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93. Just talking to you about what it means to be a warrior and how warrioring through life can sometimes mean actually having conversations that are difficult. And I talked about at the beginning of that segment the power of the tongue, and the power of the tongue being able to kind of sway the direction of your day. I mean, you can either speak something into existence that's positive or you can speak something into existence that's negative. And when I talk about that, I don't think it's a matter of like saying, I'm going to be a billionaire, and then all of a sudden you're a billionaire. And I also don't think it's, saying I'm going to have a heart attack and all of a sudden you're going to have a heart attack. But I do think it's talking about things that sway you in those directions.
Well, in that particular circumstance that I just told you about,
right?
I created a reality for an hour with Sophie that didn't have to happen in my brain.
Correct.
I was a bad mother. I'm too strict.
Correct.
I blah 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 blah. And then with the situation with you, I went to bed on that.
Right.
I slept on that.
Right.
And it wasn't until the next day at 3:00 when you said, thank you for bolstering me, I wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Yes.
I didn't stop thinking that way until then. So I poisoned myself. I poisoned the whole day that day. Now, it's not like I didn't function or anything, but I created such a false reality in my brain that, I'm too intense. I should have just let you speak negatively, just let all the negative stuff come out of you and let you have a chance to just release it all. I don't always have to rebuild. You know what I mean? Like, you're just saying all the stuff, but none of it was bad, and you really needed it, and you really appreciated it. But it was me. I did that to me.
Right.
Like, I made that happen.
Right.
I created that within my own thinking. Right. That's false thinking. That's exactly what the enemy would want me to think, is that I'm so bad. Why did, but it wasn't. It was encouraging. It was obedience. It was obedience to the Holy Spirit, and it ended up helping the two of you. And if I hadn't have been obedient, maybe that would have impacted the two of you differently.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have. And that's one of those situations where it's like what you say can build someone up or tear someone down. And I think people get that stuff twisted. I think that their world is upside down on that right now. Like, there are people doing things, even allowing their children to do things because they think that having those conversations is creating positivity, and it's actually creating negativity. The only thing that's coming positive out of it is the moment, again, of which doesn't have any form of conflict to it. Our world has hit this place where it thinks conflict is always negative, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution is actually what gets things done in the world. So if you avoid conflict, you continue to degenerate to a place where someone's going to have to step in and completely rebuild from the bottom up. You know, I mean, just look at our society right now. Look at the things being allowed to happen in school. Look at how teachers are afraid to basically speak their minds and try to hold classes accountable. Look how terrified cops are, and they're sitting in their patrol cars because they feel like if they do their job, they're going to literally be crucified for it.
Yes.
And so, like, this comes from people being allowed to have their moment. Give them their space. Just let them do this. It's like, no, like, you can be wrong. Like, it's okay. There are definite black and whites that are okay and not okay. You know, the gray areas is where you have to start making some decisions and where morality comes into play. But, like, it's okay to tell someone that they're wrong. And, like, in those incidents with Sophie and I, we were wrong. Like, if I had done what I wanted to do, there would have been a lot of people affected by that. And at the end of the day, the only reason I wanted to do it is because I'm exhausted. We work really hard to help people and accomplish a lot. And I had a pity party. Like, I just want to slow down for a minute. Like, I need to not do this. And the reality is,
this is the thing you actually needed to do.
Yeah, I
this
do.
Is what
I
God
do.
built
I
you
do
for.
have to do it.
And it was for him. And it was for kingdom purpose.
Yes.
And he was going to give you every speck of energy you needed to do it.
Right.
And he did. And you excelled. And you even stayed after for an hour talking to someone. And it was exceptional.
Yeah.
That talk, I heard the talk. It was exceptional. Everything you said was remarkable. And so you needed to be there. And yes, the enemy was like, nope.
Hey,
nope. Dial it back.
Talk to me a little bit more about how remarkable I am.
You are
Can
remarkable.
Can you like
and handsome when you shaved that beard? That was pretty handsome.
If you were to give like
handsome,
a 3-part
gorgeous,
dissertation,
the chin is like so sharp you could like cut diamonds with it.
Okay.
Yeah, like your eyes, I can see them more.
Oh, well,
and like a
no,
lot
that's
of times,
not actually true. I don't have a lot of hair by my eyes.
No, it was a block.
I mean, I kind of do.
It was a block. The beard was a block from your eyes, and now they just pop. And like sometimes it makes me blush.
Okay.
Now the situation with Sophie, this was a unique situation, right? The situation with Sophie was, I explained to her, if you become a personal trainer one day, okay, I want you to look at your client this way. Right? You normally work out with your friend on Thursdays, okay? She comes in and you train your friend, right?
Yeah, they work out together, but she trains her. She runs her through it.
Yep. How long do you work out with her? An hour? Okay. Tonight, your friend didn't show up. So you didn't start until 10 minutes in, right? Right. So, okay, that's 50 minutes you have to work out. How many minutes did you work out? About 15 or 20? And you're done? And you're just sitting at the front desk? And she was like, yeah. But yet every other Thursday you work out for a full hour? Yeah. Well,
why?
How are you growing? How are you changing?
What's
how are
your
you
why?
How are you benefiting? How is your body going to change? And if that's your client doing that, what are you going to say to that client? Have you trained them and taught them to be that way? Have you equipped them to be that way? They're trying to take the easy way out, Soph. What are you going to say to them? They'd rather just go sit at the front desk than do the work, Soph. What are you going to say to them? How are you going to influence them in a way to make them decide that getting that workout in matters, and it matters for so many different areas of their life? And I said, Sophie, it's this decision. It's this decision right here that will start to create who you become in other decisions. You had an hour that you could have sat there and you could have worked hard in that gym, right? And you could have really put 100% towards it. But instead, you go up to the front desk and you're just sitting around. You're literally doing absolutely nothing, like nothing. You got to give 100% to everything that you do. Everything that you do. Rather someone shows up and sees you doing it or not.
Well, and what's interesting about that is she's actually even talked about that. At one point with her church, she went up and talked to somebody. They were talking about burning boats, like getting rid of the things that they think hinder them, that they use as an escape from becoming who they're supposed to be. And a lot of kids were talking about, like, I don't know, technology or, pornography or, these are teenagers or just all these different things. And hers was actually laziness. And we're going to talk more about that when we get back.
For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with a free personal fitness assessment with our personal trainers or a 6-month nutrition program with myself, you can take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. Hey, everybody, it's great to be back. This is Debbie Morris in with John Morris on Real Talk 93.3 from Integrity Training Systems. Great to be back with you. So what are we talking about now, John?
Well, we were talking about Sophie right before we went on the break, saying that she wanted to burn the boat of laziness. So you have all these kids and they're talking about like all these like, you know, I don't even know how to describe what they're talking about. Like I said, one of them would be pornography. Another one was like stealing, you know, lying. It's like all these things that they know are bad and they know to get away from. And Sophie says laziness. And so, you know, her, I guess, head of her group, whatever you would call it, she asks, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by laziness? And she said, well, when I go to my dad's house and I'm there, you know, I practice piano. She's teaching herself how to play the piano. She can read music from playing the violin. And she's like, I play my piano and I build things and I make things and I make jewelry and I paint and I read.
She plays her violin.
She said, but
she's been writing a book.
Couple things, right?
Right.
You know, but she said,
works out.
Excuse me. Yeah, that was the other thing. Works out.
She cooks. She cooks a lot.
And she said that she had been at her mom's house prior to that. And, you know, and I don't mean this in a negative way. This is her verbiage, but she said that she did nothing. She spent the whole day doing nothing. She said that she sat on an iPad and she watched YouTube and different videos and watched some shows, and her brother sat next to her and played Minecraft and Roblox, and that she actually accomplished nothing. She spent 8 hours of her day and couldn't tell you what she watched or what she did. And the counselor said that she was like really upset about it. Yeah, she was like,
tears.
I wasted a day of my life and I don't even know what it was on. And so she said she wanted to burn the boat of laziness. She wanted to get away from that. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we all want to do that. I mean, I'm not telling you to not have downtime. That's not what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Have downtime. One of my most successful friends.
She totally has downtime. She sits and plays games.
One of my most successful friends will tell you that he loves being lazy. He loves it, but he's hyper successful. And so what he means by that is he earns his laziness. The couple hours that he spends sitting around watching a show, or the couple hours he spends vegging out, he's earned that because of how hard he works. And by the end of it, he's already started to think about how hard he's going to go back and work.
Right.
And
he wouldn't be happy if he kept continuing.
No, and that's my point. There's a difference between taking downtime and living in downtime.
Yeah.
You know, because too much downtime is the breeding ground of not good thoughts, anxiety and depression. I'm not good for anything, just like she's talking about. It starts to lead to those kinds of things because we know we're called to do things. We know we're greater. We're called to be greater than being a bump on a log.
Right.
And I want to talk a little bit more. We kind of talked about, got away from it a little bit, but the power of the tongue. I just want to make 2 more points with this. And Ephesians 4:29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up. So what's fascinating about that is, like Deb was talking about, as far as like building me up, yes, there's a time to let people vent to you, but here's what ends up happening with venting. People join you on it. Mm-hmm. And so the venting quickly turns into gossip and or bashing and bringing people down. And that's unwholesome talk. It's talking about this right here, because most people think if they're your friend or they've got your back, they're supposed to join you in whatever you're talking about and not challenge it, versus actually taking a moment to use their intellect, to use their sense of judgment and figure out, like, are you actually reacting to this inappropriately or improperly? And am I furthering that and actually hindering you by agreeing with you?
This or you can also totally change someone's energy too.
Yeah,
they might have been
actually
in this
a problem
great
with
mood.
counseling right now. It's even in professional counseling. Like I'm getting clients that are coming to me and they've talked to their counselor or their psychologist or their psychiatrist, and their psychologist and psychiatrist is confirming something for them. And I'm having to be the one as their personal trainer, accidental therapist that says, I don't agree with that. Like that's actually allowing you to falter. You know,
Right.
we're in the health industry. So we personal train and we do nutrition. You cannot tell a food addict it's okay to have what you want on the weekends.
Yes.
That is a lie.
Right.
And that's someone trying to agree with you. And it's honestly probably somebody who is dealing with the same problem.
It's the
or
easy
thinks
way out as
they
a counselor.
deserve that.
That's the easy
It's the
answer.
easy way out. It's
Hard
the easy
answer is getting to the bottom of why they're doing it.
It's the easy way out as a friend, as a family
Right.
member. And maybe that's why. Maybe the counselor needs you to come back to make your money. I don't know.
Well, the easy
But-
way out the other night would have been like, yeah, I'm tired too.
Exactly.
I don't feel like doing my day tomorrow either.
Exactly.
Let's just not do the day.
But because
we
you
don't
did
get to
that,
do
we
that,
crushed
you know?
something. So I want you to think about that. It's like, do not allow any unwholesome talk. So this actually goes towards that same concept of if you're sitting around bad mouthing something, maybe take a second and just acknowledge, like, I either A, need to change my attitude on this, or B, potentially not be a part of this anymore. Like
Right.
if you're bad mouthing your job, go get a different job.
Right.
If you're bad mouthing your friends, hang with a different group. If you're
Yes.
bad mouthing somebody you don't like, then don't get around them.
Yes.
You know, change your energy on that. And the last point I want to make with this is Matthew 12:36-37 says, "But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word that they have spoken, for by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned."
Yeah.
Like the Bible says, take every thought captive.
good.
So if you're sitting there running your mouth, that's you're gonna be that's called to condemnation or positivity at some point in time. And if you're not a Christian and you don't buy any of that, just acknowledge that your friends and family hold you to the same standard. And so when you lie to somebody or you just slough it off, Debbie was actually looked at as a point of she was seen as something that was appreciated by our daughter for going into a difficult moment for herself so that Sophie could be bettered. Like that's important. And you know what? Sometimes your kid isn't going to be like mine and acknowledge it in a 30-minute window. Sometimes your husband isn't going to be like me and acknowledge it in a 24-hour window. They might never even acknowledge it for you, but you have to recognize that you're actually doing it for them.
Yeah.
You're doing it for them. And let them show you with how they go forward and how they live their life that they appreciate it. Like when you see the alteration of their behavior, that's when you're like, okay, I had that conversation. But you're not actually doing it for you. So when you agree with somebody just like, yeah, and you don't stand on your beliefs, you're doing that for you. You're not doing that for them.
Yeah, I mean, one of my really close friends, one of the things I like the most about her, one of the things I love the most about her is no matter, and I'm just not really one to talk about my personal issues. I mean, and I've actually even had people literally complain about it, that I don't open up enough. Like in years past, I've had friends say, well, you don't ever talk about stuff. So it's like, it's almost impossible to get to know you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't come at people with my problems. Like, I think we've got work to do, right? Like when I get with one of my dear friends, either we're there to build each other up, make each other better. We get in the Bible together. We're empowering each other to be stronger in each other's businesses. We're praying for our families together. We're influencing each other to live healthier lifestyles. These are friendships to me. That's what I'm looking for in friendship.
Yeah.
And if I don't have that in friendship, I actually don't need the friendship. I'm not, and maybe there's going to be this whole group of people that's like, you know what, you're a real jerk. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay if you think I'm a jerk, because I would rather have 3 people in my life like that than 300 people that don't do any of that for me. They don't do any of that.
There was
for
a
me.
video the other day. Dr. Hyman was talking to a guy. I don't know.
Oh
who the
yeah,
other
that was
guy
so good. It was so
and
good.
the other guy was talking about your friend circle. And he goes, a lot of people think their close friend circle is the people that they can call when they've had a really tough time and a really bad day and cry on their shoulders.
Yes.
That's like who they consider their tight friend group. He goes, but I challenge you to look at this a little bit differently. He's like, you want to know who your tight friend group is? That's the people you can call when things are actually going super well and you can brag to them. Most people would call it gloating or being pretentious or braggery. He's like, it actually is bragging. But if you can call your friend and you can brag and they actually get excited with you and ramped up with you and tell you how proud of they are and how excited they are for you, and they genuinely mean all of that,
yes.
and they literally only talk to people about how excited they are for you, that's your friend group. And he goes, and that is a much, much smaller group than the one whose shoulder you can cry on.
Right.
Because it's easy to cry on someone's shoulder, and it's easy for that person to feel important to let you do the crying or feel like they're actually doing something for you, and then they're potentially getting something out of you even in that moment, or that you owe them for that cry session.
Right.
And so like the ones who are literally going to get fired up and be like, heck yes, I love that you just made $10 million and I only make $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year. Like, if they can get excited and not want any of that from you, like that's your close friends.
Right.
And so just be careful who you share your information with and start looking around you. And I'm not telling you to drop friends, but I am telling you, like, if someone lets you constantly be negative or poisonous or venomous or complaining or tearing other people down, or they tear other people down with you, you need to check that. And like, if they're willing to openly tear down people with you and it's more than one person, then that's not just an issue they have with one person. That's an issue that they have within themselves. And I guarantee you they're probably tearing you down to someone else too.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say about my good friend is, I mean, there have been maybe 2 occasions where I had to come to her with just 2 weird circumstances with people. And she immediately, as a close friend, you want to step in and be like, I got you, that person shouldn't be doing that to you. But just took an open-minded approach to it and just said, okay, let's just think of all the things that could be going wrong in this person's life that would cause them to act like this. And just made me kind of break down looking at it in a different way. That's what you need friendships for. But are we doing that? I mean, are we really doing that? I think that people have their negative energy and they bring their negative energy to somebody, and all it does is it's like a magnet. And it turns that person negative. That person could have been having the best day they were ever having. I mean, they could have been in the greatest mood, and they walk in, and that person's energy totally shifts them over to negativity. And I mean, in the moment when John was feeling that way, I could have had that happen, but instead I was like, no. The warrior inside me was like, no, this isn't you. This isn't what God equipped you to be. That you got this. You can do this. You're strong enough for this.
And I don't mean this as a point of confidence. I actually mean this as a point of negativity. Like, I'm not easy to come at like that. Like, I am an aggressive, assertive, don't handle any form of correction well person. So for her to take that stance and be like, no, man, like, that's not okay. Like, that's a step in faith. She genuinely cares. It would be super easy, like, good luck, tough guy, like, go have fun with that then and let me fall apart at the seams on that.
Right. And I think we just have to have the courage to stand for something. And I think when we actually don't stand for things, that's where anxiety and depression actually come in, because you're what are you living for? What's your rule book?
If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything.
Amen.
For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems, check us out at integritytrainingsystems.com. Or if you're interested in a free personal fitness assessment or Debbie's nutrition program, give us a call at 636-299-2208. For nutrient-dense, high-protein valued baked goods from our personal bakery delivered to your doorstep, check us out at sophiesbakery.com. And for grass-fed, grass-finished meat, the only meat that the Morris family eats, check out fedfromthefarm.com. Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We've been talking a lot about poisonous verbiage today, poisonous talk, and making sure you're using your tongue to bring positivity in the world. And I just want to kind of rotate in that a little bit more into what we do for a living. You know, we are in the health industry, and I will never pretend to be a doctor or, you know, anything more than what I am. We do personal training. We do nutrition. Now, Debbie's got just more certifications than I can even count. You know, she's certified through functional medicine, nutrition, Chinese medicine, all these things, you know, but we're not doctors, but we are in the health industry. And that's kind of what I think separates us as a company. You know, we actually were recently talking to some people in a very formal sit down format, and they asked us that. They're like, okay, but there's gyms on every corner. Like, what separates you? Like, what makes you different? And it wasn't necessarily even how we train, which I do stand by that we do differently. We just go about it a completely different way, but it was more like our code, like why we do what we do, but not only that, like how we search for what we're doing. And that's to get to the root. And Debbie's nutrition program is very similar to that. So like, you know, you come in and you say you want to lose 20 pounds, but she's like, but why is there 20 pounds on you? And if you've tried before, why has it not come off? So she's got to chase the root. Well, I actually think health has the exact same problem. A lot of times we think our body is the only thing that's sick, or our body is the only thing that's weak. Maybe we want to gain more muscle tissue, or we want to lose some body fat, or we just need better mobility. But what we don't realize is there's a trinity in our body that has to be healthy, and that's our mind, body, and our spirit. And so most times, I'm not going to say all the time, there's definitely differences in people, but most times people's physical ailments are actually a result of a weak mind or spirit. Yeah. And so like you think you have an overeating problem because you like to eat, and that's probably true, but why do you like to eat? You might say it's just because you like the flavor of food and eating and drinking. That's what I would have told you when I was 100 pounds overweight. But what I've come to realize is food is a 100% dopamine response for me, and not just from an actual neurochemical level where I'm getting that chemical response in my brain, but also from like a spiritual level. Because when I have a really bad day, I deserve to eat something to make myself feel better. When I have a really good day, I deserve to eat something as a reward. When I'm out with my friends, I try to eat clean throughout the week, so I deserve to have my weekend off. I eat clean all day long, so I deserve to have my glass of red wine and dark chocolate at the end of the night, right? Everything I just told you are things that people say, well, I have to go out with these friends, like I just have to do this. You start getting into deeper issues. The reason you think you have to do that with your friends is because you lack self-confidence. The reason you think you deserve to have that because you've had a bad day is because you haven't figured out a coping mechanism to make your days better or to overcome. The reason you think you deserve that when you have a good day is because you actually don't know how to take a moment to enjoy the positivity of what the good day was, and you think that you deserve a reward for every good thing that happens in your life. There's a lot of deeper content going on here. And so if you can't get to the depths of why you have 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds on you, why you're dealing with inflammatory diseases, why you had a heart attack, like, yeah, there's a lot of physicality to that. But what I said makes us different is we actually chased the mind and spirit first to figure out what is wrong with the body. And guess what? If those two things are perfect on you, awesome. We move right on. Then it's just correcting the food. It's just correcting the exercise. That's actually super easy. Okay, so if you're listening to the show, you're like, well, I don't need these guys. My mind and spirit are solid. Awesome. Come see us, and it'll be a much easier transformation. Absolutely. Okay, but if you get to the bottom of those things, what you find is weight and muscle gain, losing weight, those are byproducts. Those are accidental side effects to correcting those other issues. It's the same as having an open, bleeding, gaping chest wound and thinking you're going to slap some gauze on it and survive. I mean, maybe you get a couple more seconds before you bleed out, but there's a wound, you know? So I've watched people yo-yo. I've watched people lose weight. We actually had a guy, an 80-year-old, come into our facility here recently, and he did a pull-up with 1 pound for every year of his life attached to him. So he did a chin-up at 80 with 85 actually pounds strapped to his waist. Pretty freaking awesome. There was a video of it that was put up online for us. He also had a videographer that's going to send us the whole thing. We'll get that put up when we can. But he said that he had to get into health because he had a quadruple bypass heart attack and had to have surgery. And one of the closures that he had was what's called the Widowmaker. And usually it by itself without the other three will kill you. Like its survival rate is very low. And then its post-survival rate is also very short. And they told him he probably only had maybe a couple years. Well, he's 80 now, and he had that when he was like in his early 60s. And he said he's helped a lot of people with health. Like he's tried to tell people like this is a lifestyle, you know, you got to eat like this. And he had one guy, it was a client of his when he still had his business. Guy comes in, he tells him how fantastic he looks. So he's like, well, I can help you. So he gets him on this food plan, helps him out. Guy loses a bunch of weight, comes in one day to meet with him. And this is the type of business where you only meet with someone like maybe twice a year, 3 times a year. And he's like, he looked fantastic. He had lost all this weight. He looked really, good. His eyes were very vibrant. He was just, it was amazing to see this guy respond to this. And he goes, I didn't want to admit it, but I knew there was a problem when he said, so how much longer do I have to do this? And so this 80-year-old's like, well, it's a lifestyle. It's a life change. Like you don't ever really get to go back. Otherwise you go back to where you started with your health too. And he said he watched the energy drain out of the guy. You mean I have to do this forever? And I'm going to speed this up a little bit as we get closer to the end of the segment. But he got a call. The guy's wife canceled their next meeting. I think he was a financial advisor or something. I don't know for sure.
I think he was.
So the guy's wife cancels the next meeting. He doesn't really think anything of it. He was like, hey, she just said, hey, we're not going to be able to be there. We need to reschedule. And so a month or so goes by, and he said he was going to call her, and she ended up calling him, and she said, I just want to let you know he died. He had a heart attack and died because he had put all of his weight back on. And he came home from that meeting, and he started drinking again. He started eating whatever he wanted again. He went right back to where he was. He had a heart attack, and he died. And the 80-year-old, like, he's in tears telling me the story.
I saw him.
He's like, people don't understand that their life is bigger than food. Their life is bigger than drinking. They think that that's the enjoyment. They think that's what they want. But that guy felt amazing. He talked about it. But somewhere in his mind, he had not been trained, and he reverted back to thinking that life revolved around that feel good of shoving something in his mouth and less about the feel good that was going to give him longevity to play with his grandkids, to be around longer, to feel good while he was still around. Now, mind you, that was between the times that he had seen him. So in less than a year, 6 to 9 months, he put all that weight back on and he died.
Your heart really hurts from that.
So you have to attack the mind and the spirit. And when you combine those things and you put the body last, the body will follow.
Right.
The body will follow.
Absolutely. And I just think, my gosh, there's just so much more to life than chasing after a cheat meal. Cook your food in a way that it tastes amazing. Make recipes with healthy ingredients that you enjoy eating, and then don't allow yourself to be influenced by the wrong people. If there are people in your life that you're spending time with, I don't care if they're family members. I truly don't care. If they're influencing you for the wrong thing and you keep continuing to go after the wrong foods, you're going to have to set yourself apart. You're going to pray and believe that God will give you the wisdom to know when you should be around him and when you shouldn't be around him. Now, if it's your spouse, that's really hard. I think you should consider counseling if you're in that circumstance, because that might be the only way out of it. And you need to find a very healthy counselor. But the reality of it is if you continue to remain under that influence of those people that always end up causing you to fall and always end up causing you to have something that you always end up regretting, you may never, ever push forward in your life. And we pray that those people that are influencing you make change, but you have got to take a stand for yourself. And it might honestly feel very lonely when you take that stand. It really, truly might. But it is going to be so worth it because you are going to transform. You're going to stay well. You're going to stay healthy. You're going to be able to fulfill the call and purpose that God has for your life because the health is going to be there. Chase after the health. The weight comes naturally when you chase after the health first. And that's what we do at Integrity. For more information on what we do with a 6-month nutrition program or a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, Take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208 for gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery. Take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.